Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Let's do the Q&A. All right, Jonathan MM, you're asking where the best bank to go is to exchange, and what about bank bailouts? There's not going to be any bank bailouts, so don't worry about that. That's all nonsense. As far as banks, you want to go to the bank. Banks charge a fee. They charge a percentage of it, okay? So when this happens, you want to stay patient, talk to your friends. If you have any friends that cashed out, find out what fees they had to charge, or what fees the banks charged them, what percentage was held off the top, that kind of thing. Stay patient. Don't rush to cash in. You can call most of the big four banks will exchange it, and some of the other ones will do too, but you have Chase, Wells Fargo, B of A, and so forth. So stay patient, do your due diligence, talk to your friends. That's what's going to give you the most bang for your buck, okay? It's all about patience. What do I think the rate will be? Well, I personally am looking for a rate of about $3.80, okay? Over the weekend, here's the deal. So on 380, it was devalued in 2004 at 322, okay? So that's 15 years ago. So if you had about a 15-year cost of living increase, I'm projecting about 380, okay? But over the weekend, I shared something with you from that gentleman, Walking Stick. He has shared with us through time that we know that this will, when this happens, they're going to unpeg from the dollar and repeg to the SDR basket, okay? So what Walking Stick said is if you take the current SDR rate, today it's about $1.41, and multiply that times 3, takes you to about $4.22. That was one of his ways he said you could calculate the rate, okay? I know another person who's highly educated in economics and math. One of the ways they calculated the rate, they were able to replicate how Kuwait calculated their rate, okay? And they took that same math, applied it to Iraq, and we came out with Iraq's rate at about $4.25 from using Kuwait's math, okay? So I personally, my high point in this, or my max, is $4.25. I think that could take 6 months to a year to get that, though. I'm looking out of the gates, I'm looking more in the high threes, around $3.80, okay? That was Melinda Baldwin asking about the rate. Cecil Lancaster, you asked if the rate could get as high as 675. The answer is no. And I just shared all that with you. I don't think that the highest, I think within a year is probably about 425, okay? Andre Blalak, you're asking about the rate. I just answered that for you. David Gench, your big question is, why do I feel that the completion of the government is so critical? Okay, well, there was that 5-year article from 2014, October of 2014. The CBI blatantly said it's because Iraq had so much political corruption. That's why right now you're seeing all the news, or at least over the last few weeks, roughly since about mid-July, they were going after the old former political figures. For example, the old Prime Minister Maliki, guys, he's worth about $55 billion from how much money he's actually stolen from Iraq. Okay, so Iraq had one of the most corrupt governments in the world. It's very important, and they were stealing money from the government. So the CBI made it very clear they want their number one thing they want to see is a brand new, good, established government for stability. Okay, completed formed government for stability, and they wanted all the old political figures gone. And guys, that was from the CBI. The CBI blatantly said they will not delete the zeros till Iraq has a new formed government and all those old officials are gone and out. Okay, that's from the CBI. Okay, and multiple articles have said that, not just one. I've showed, we've seen articles that I showed my long timers through earlier in the year, kind of around June and July, that were saying Iraq would not implement the government program. The government program is everything after the rate change for the citizens. And they said they would not implement that basically until after the elections were done and the government was formed, okay? So they've said in multiple articles they must have a formed, completed government, okay? Michael Young, you're asking about kind of the rate and kind of when and if the revaluation or reinstatement is going to happen. Iraq has to do it, guys. Iraq's the wealthiest country in the world. They can't... Notice, for example, guys, Iraq has not even been able to pay for reconstruction, okay? They have to do this just to pay for reconstruction, okay? I've shown you guys that it was a few weekends ago I showed you, because they are under one Article 8 policy, where they can only use a single currency, being their native dinar, to pay for transactions and so forth. They can't use the US dollar anymore. And that's why the reconstruction is still outstanding. So that's one reason they have to do this. Iraq cannot go international until this happens. For example, the war and the reconstruction have been pending for 1.5 years, and it's still pending. Okay, so there's one example on that for you. Queen Reina 17. You were asking about if there's going to be 800 numbers, rates. Oh, I've answered rate questions. Do I still think it'll happen around September 21st, 22nd? The answer to that's heck yeah. Facts keep supporting that. In fact, on the facts, guys, the factual information has gotten a little too predictable. Okay, the information in the facts is getting very predictable, guys. It's scary how easy it is for me at least, to target this thing right now. I feel very confident about what I'm sharing with you guys. The news is very predictable. Regarding 800 numbers, those are all lies and nonsense. Most of those came down from most of the gurus that mislead and lie all the time, like TNT Tony's whole group. That's where all of the 800 numbers originated from, with those types of gentlemen. And you disregard it. There are no 800 numbers, okay? And then you were asking about contract rate. Guys, what the contract rate, there is no contract rate. There's a big private group, there may be more than one. My understanding is it involves the Chinese elders, and supposedly what a whole bunch, and I actually know someone who did this. What they did was they were promised a rate, okay, or like a contract rate. So what they did was, prior to the revaluation, they've already turned in and have handed over all their dinar physically to this private group, and they were promised a rate, and they have not been paid yet. So they're also out of their dinar for this so-called contract rate. They've already turned in their dinar, and they don't have it in their possession anymore. Guys, to me, that's a scam. Okay, so I would disregard contract rates and all that. You don't want to go there. Okay, E.L. Lewis, you're asking about the rate. I've already answered that. I kind of gave you some highs and lows on it, and you were asking if I think it'll come out at or higher than 342, and the answer is definitely yes, because I shared that with you guys. All right, this question's from Paul Torum. Even though Parliament is in session, the central bank has the last word on the revaluation. Can they still revalue the currency? Guys, the answer to that is yes and no. Let me tell you why it's yes. Technically, there's laws in place. The CBI is completely autonomous from the government. They're privately, they're a separate group, separate structure, okay? They do their own thing with the money. The government does their own thing with laws and legislation, okay? But the CBI, so the answer to your question is theoretically yes. But in this instance, the CBI made it very clear they're seeking stability. That's why we are waiting on the formation of the government, because of how much money has been stolen from the government. This is very important to Iraq to remove all of the corruption and get a solid, formed technocrat government in place. What technocrat means is they're not part of any of the factions, the Sunnis, Kurds, and Shias. They're neutral, okay? That's what they're seeking. So that's why that's important. Next question is from What a Heckman. He's asking, do any of the countries have Iraq intel on what is going on there? Would they be able to know something? Yeah, there's, like, for example, I know brokers that have been buying their currency straight out of Jordan, okay? So yeah, there's a lot of the other countries that are going on, and a lot of the other countries do hold Iraq dinar. But it's hard to dive deeper into that because I'm not from that region and I'm not part of those other countries. But yeah, there's other countries. I know a lot of brokers have pulled their dinar that they've been selling to us and other parts of the world. They've been pulling dinar straight out of Jordan. So yeah, there's other countries that know what's going on. You guys need to get a lazy boy and some popcorn on this one. John Deere rolled out a boatload of questions. Let's get going. So John Deere asks, why do you believe the China trade deal is now not an issue for the rate change? That's a good question, John. That was a double-edged sword. I was seeing, before everyone from the Brando side joined me around, I think it was June time frame, there was actual news anchors putting news clips out stating, and I felt the same way, that Trump was going to use the China trade to his political advantage and gain, to use it to spike the markets to hit record highs. It was an indirect relationship, not a direct relationship between the China trade and the actual rate change. Okay, it was an indirect relationship. Okay, but here's the thing: Trump only has a small window of time because Iraq can't base their rate change on fluid events around the world. That can't happen. Iraq has to be able to set their stage, pick a date, and do it. If Iraq had this based purely on fluid events, it wouldn't work because you would never know when the fluid events around the world would be done. Okay, so Iraq would never be able to accurately set their stage, pick a date, and do it. It's like running a business, guys. When you run a business, you put your business plan in place, you set your goals, you set your objectives, you do it. But if you had to run your business around external fluid events, your goals that you set in place, you wouldn't be able to hit or achieve them. Okay, that's the same with Iraq. So Trump only had a small window of time within this to be able to use it to his gain and advantage, and he's now out of time. So that's why, after watching Iraq's movements with how they're setting the stage, okay, Trump's out of time to be able to use this to promote himself and to be able to use this as a tool to spike the markets. Okay. Next question by John Deere, number 2. Can you please explain how there's enough fiat in the world to cover this? Guys, this isn't covered by fiat. All it is a currency exchange. Okay, it's just an exchange. You exchanged, if you're from the US, you exchanged dollars to buy dinar when you first got in. You're going to do the same on the back end when you get out. You're going to exchange dinar back for dollars. Okay, so that's all. It's just a currency swap exchange, nothing more. Nobody funds this. It's just a currency exchange. Okay, is there such thing as a contract rate, NDA, IKD? No, I already touched on the contract rate, guys. There is none of that. That's all. That's again, that's a scam. And the NDA, the non-disclosures, that's all a scam with that private group. And again, those people already gave their dinar to that private group and they have not been paid yet, so they're now out their dinar. Okay? Will every citizen within Iraq become millionaires? Well, it depends. The country of Iraq has been doing a lot of campaigns to draw down the note counts. Remember, about roughly 3 months ago, you guys saw all the articles coming out that a lot of gurus kept overhyping and misleading everyone, that said Iraq is now releasing the smaller categories. The smaller categories simply are notes that are currently in circulations, the 250s, 500s, 1000s, all those. Guys, they did that because it allows them to get smaller categories out, to get the citizens to go to the banks and deposit their 25K notes for smaller categories. That helps prevent them from becoming rich and being millionaires, okay? So there's a lot of campaigns that they've done to get the citizens to turn their large 3-0 notes in. But if they have large 3-0 notes and they have a lot of money, yeah, they're theoretically going to become a millionaire, because the CBI already told us that 2 currencies will coexist together. That means a 25 note and a 25K note will both hold their value at the same time. They're not going to hold the same value. They will hold their own individual value together at the same time. Okay? Will the U.S. having sanctions on Iran hold up the RV? In my opinion, guys, like I just explained a little bit ago, in my opinion, Iraq cannot set their economy. They can't set the stage, okay, and do this around fluid events. It wouldn't work. They wouldn't be able to set their stage and commission this and achieve a target date, okay? So in my opinion, external fluid events are not part of this and have nothing to do with it, okay? Will the smaller denominations come out before the RIRV? In my opinion, no. They will. The banks already have them ready to go. We've already seen. I've got some other angles where I know that the CBI has an Excel spreadsheet. On the CBI Excel spreadsheet on the Arabic side, they update it, and some of the numbers on that or expenses within the CBI, they have actually allocated money to have, over the last quite a few months, to have lower, smaller notes printed. Okay, so the banks are stocked, ready to go. Basically, the day the rate changes, the banks will just have their drawer stocked, ready to start passing them out. It's that simple. But no, they're not going to come out ahead of time. They'll come out the same morning that the rate changes. It's all going to happen together at the same time. All right, guys. Hope that works for you. You guys have an amazing day. Take care.